Tonight, on Your Real World. Could what happened in Europe with the euro currency be slated for implementation in North America? Your Real World investigates talk of a North American Union and the Amero currency. Does a cure for cancer actually exist? If so, why haven't we been told about it? Your Real World uncovers the work of an Italian doctor who has found the cure, but has been blacklisted by Big Pharma. Then later, Lotto Max, Lotto 649, are they really random? Or does the Lottery Corporation have the power to decide when the jackpots will be won? Your Real World uncovers the truth.
Good evening. It happened in Europe in 1993 with the formation of the European Union, which consequently led to the implementation of the euro in 2002. From that moment on, all EU states, with the exception of the United Kingdom, were under one currency, the euro. Since then, we've seen the European economy in turmoil, with country after country in total bankruptcy, requiring bailout after bailout. Well, could such a thing happen here in North America? Believe it or not, talk of creating the euro currency dates back to the 1960s, but of course it takes decades for the government to bring such a plan to fruition, because, well, you gotta do things slowly, without people noticing too much that there's going to be a huge change. Well, I've been doing my research, and believe it or not, talk is already happening here in North America. Talk of a North American Union between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. This, of course, would lead, most likely, to the creation of a North American currency, which is, at the moment, being called the Amero. Think I'm making all this up? Take a look at this clip from a Republican debate held in 2011, where Senator Ron Paul answers the question about a North American Union brought forward by a U.S. citizen.
This is Seekster from Arlington, Texas, and this question is for Ron Paul. I've met a lot of your supporters online, but I've noticed that a good number of them seem to buy into this conspiracy theory regarding the Council of Foreign Relations and some plan to make a North American Union by merging the United States with Canada and Mexico. These supporters of yours seem to think that you also believe in this theory. So my question to you is, do you really believe in all this, or are people just putting words in your mouth?
Well, 90 seconds.
Well, it all depends on what you mean by all of this. The CFR exists, the Trilateral Commission exists, and it's a, quote, conspiracy of ideas. This is an ideological battle. Some people believe in globalism, others of us believe in national sovereignty. And there is a move on toward a North American Union, just like early on there was a move on for a European Union, and it eventually ended up. So we had NAFTA and moving toward a NAFTA highway. These are real things. It's not somebody made these up. It's not a conspiracy. They don't talk about it, and they might not admit about it, but there's been money spent on it. There was legislation passed in the Texas legislature unanimously to put a halt on it. They're planning on millions of acres taken by eminent domain for an international highway from Mexico to Canada, which is going to make the immigration problem that much worse. So it's not so much a secretive conspiracy. It's a contest between ideologies, whether we believe in our institutions here, our national sovereignty, our Constitution, or are we going to further move in the direction of international government, more UN? You know, this country goes to war under UN resolutions. I don't like big government in Washington. So I don't like this trend toward international government. We have a WTO that wants to control our drug industry, our nutritional products. So I'm against all that, but it's not so much as a sinister conspiracy. It's just knowledge is out there. If we look for it, you'll realize that our national sovereignty is under threat.
You know, what's disturbing about all of this is that it actually gives credibility to what David Icke has been talking about for years, which is the creation of a one-world government and a one-world currency. I mean, think about it. If Europe has one currency, and then North America has one currency, then the next logical step would be to merge both currencies together to create, you guessed it, a one-world currency. And if that happens, my friends, then our economy and our lives will be in the hands of the very few elite. And speaking of the elite, if the cure for cancer had been already found, do you really think that the powers that be would allow the people of the world to know about it? Think about the billions of dollars that are being generated year after year for cancer research. How do you think Big Pharma would react if all their billions of dollars in funding were suddenly gone because the cure had been found? Well, guess what? The cure actually has been found. Would you believe that an Italian doctor by the name of Tullio Simoncini has discovered that all cancers can be treated and cured with a substance that's very inexpensive, very common, and has little or no side effects? Would you believe that that substance is just sodium bicarbonate? You see that there? One of the main ingredients in baking soda, but not to be confused with the household baking soda, which has other ingredients to it. This is just sodium bicarbonate in its purest form. Dr. Simoncini believes that all cancers are nothing but a fungus called Candida, and that the treatment of these fungi can be successfully achieved with sodium bicarbonate.
Tullio Simoncini is a medical doctor. Further, he has his board certification in oncology. He is a cancer doctor, and yet he saw something terribly wrong with what was going on in oncology in Italy.
If you enter in the body and you reach an organ affected by the cancer, you can see that the lumps are always white.
The lumps are white?
Lumps are always white. Because the pleura, we entered with a camera, and look, the pleura should be red, but you can see all the lumps, all the cancer that is white, really white. This is the heart beating. This is a bronchial cancer. Look, we went into the bronchia. Look with the bronchoscope. Look, they are white, white
now,
as usual. And then in the colon cancer, this is red because there is a little bit blood. I washed it up.
Okay, and now it's white.
Now, look. The density is different. So it's different, but it is always white under the first look. It's always white. And look, after one day treatment, okay. Then
look, it looks like thrush.
Yes.
On a tongue, which is yeast.
This is the same illness, but here the fungus is on the surface. When the fungus enter in the body, in the depth of the body, it becomes a lump, and the reaction, the invasion, and the reaction make the cancer. Antifungal today's antifungal drugs are ineffective because the fungi can adapt themselves in 3-4 days. They are not shared elements. They are social elements. They communicate. They are connected by pores, and they can adapt themselves because they have a big power of adaptation, because they are the masses. Imagine shared cells like bacteria. You can poison them at once with some penicillin. But for a fungus, you give an antifungal drug. You can kill the first layer, but the second layer they get used and they eat drugs, chemotherapy, everything. The problem is that a sodium bicarbonate is effective if you can put in contact the sodium bicarbonate with the cancer. Okay. So you have to reach the cancer directly in the depth of the organism.
For more information and contact information for Dr. Simoncini, please visit the website now being displayed on your screen. And finally tonight, Lotto Max, Lotto 649, are they really random? Or do the powers that be have the ability to decide when the jackpots will actually be won? Well, I've been promising to bring you this story for a long time now, and you may remember that I was accurately able to predict when the jackpot of December 2010 would be won. Remember this? And as we predicted, the Lotto Max is now at $50 million, plus 18 Max Million prizes in addition to that. Now, at this stage, I believe that the jackpot will in fact be won on New Year's Eve, so if you were thinking of buying a ticket, now is the time to do it. I know I, for one, will be doing it. Well, now it's time to reveal the secret. It was a typical Wednesday morning, nothing unusual going on, but I happened to be on the internet, surfing on the province newspaper website, just checking up on the latest information, news, weather, and sports. And of course, on the right-hand side of pretty much any internet website you go to nowadays, there's advertising. And the advertising that was shown on the province website this particular day, on this Wednesday, was the lotto jackpot for that Wednesday night, which at that time was for 25 million. Well, that's all very fine. I go to click into a particular story to read about, the details of that story. And as I do so, the ads in the right-hand column change, as they're supposed to. But on this particular day, the ad for the Lotto 649 jackpot, which was advertised at 25 million moments ago, now suddenly increased to 30 million. I thought, am I seeing things? I could have sworn that said 25 million a moment ago. So I clicked the back button to go back to the original story. When I did that, the ad changed back to 25 million. I thought, no, I'm not crazy. It did say 25 million, but a moment ago it changed to 30 million. That's kind of weird. So then I clicked into the story again, just to see would it change back to 30 million. Sure enough, the error was corrected. It stayed at 25 million. Now here's where the story gets really interesting. That evening, the Lotto 649 draw was about to take place, and the next day, on the radio, it was announced that the jackpot was not won, and that the jackpot had increased to $30 million. Coincidence? That led me to believe that the Lotto organizers kind of already know whether or not the jackpot will be won. At least they have control over it. So when you think that you're playing your numbers to win, there's no real guarantee that you're actually going to win that particular day, because let's say in the case of the Lotto Max, for example, they want to bring the jackpot up to 50 million so they can start really advertising the crap out of it, and also throw in those Max Millions, which boosts the Lotto fever even more. Well, what better way to do that than to control when the jackpot will be won, so that they can continue accumulating the jackpot every week. It was just unfortunate for the BCLC that they made a little slip there in their advertising and already had the 30 million ad ready to go on the province website before the jackpot, or before the draw already took place. So after getting that little peek into the future, I realized that they had the power to control it. And from then on, I was able to pretty much accurately predict when the jackpots would be won, based on, the accumulations that we're building. So, moral of the story here is, if you think that the Lotto jackpots are random, think again. They have control. They can't control who's going to win, but they can certainly control when it's going to be won, and how much. But as always on this show, we want you to do your own research, draw your own conclusions, and above all, open your eyes and your mind to what's happening in your real world. Good night.